We are back. Yeah, back again, back and again. Because there's a lot of stuff for you here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And of course, I don't like to take the leave of you. I don't want to go away. I always want to give you the updates. I always want to give you the analysis. I want to create content for you. I want you to enjoy all the football analysis over your weekend, over your weekday. So that's why it's imperative that every time you turn on the notification, and then in the notification, you do choose all. You choose all. Subscribe, turn on notification, and do choose all, because it's very, very imperative. It's very important that once you are here, you get to get the best of analysis. You don't get, it doesn't get better from here. Here is your home for the best of our analysis, post-match and then pre-match stuff. But then here you go. It has been a brilliant weekend thus far. Chelsea up 4-1 against Burnley at the Turf Moor. I told you before that it was going to be a tough game, but then Mauricio Pochettino and his charges had what it takes to get the job done. Madrid, Jude Bellingham, he is the guy. Jude Bellingham is the guy. The 4-1-2-1-2 for Carlo Ancelotti has been brilliant. And then they did finish their game again. Vinicius Jr. is back to himself, and Joselu and sometimes even Rodrigo Goes has been brilliant for Real Madrid. It's a good one for them. Madrid's formation has been brilliant. My own man has been my man, Orient Tchouameni. Brilliant boy at the base of that midfield diamond for Real Madrid. And then Jude Bellingham, need I say more? I don't need to see him. Of course, Federico Valverde has been brilliant as well. Barcelona have a game today. We'll analyze that quickly for you. Manchester United's issue. But in last minute, my man, Scott McTominay was able to get the 2 goals that gave Manchester United the all-important 3 points that they needed yesterday. There's Arsenal versus Manchester City. There's Liverpool versus West Brom, Brighton and Hove Albion. I'll get into that, all of that for you. My name, Fiifi-Manfred. Make sure at this point, if you've not subscribed, you pause, you subscribe, you turn on the notification button, and you choose all. See you in a... So, in the Spanish La Liga, Madrid were up before this game week by just a point over Barcelona. And then they had to go and get that job done. I mean, so if you've watched Madrid, the kind of football that Carlo Ancelotti is trying to play is, in a general sense, trying to augment the lack of Karim Mustafa Benzema's goals that they know they are not going to have. So, for purposes of context, you know that Benzema left Madrid. They had to replace him with a striker. Kylian Mbappe wasn't able to materialize this summer. And then, of course, they had to make sure that they find a plan. They don't want just any striker. Harry Kane was on the conversation. Victor Osimhen was in the conversation. I'm thinking that these are players that they really convinced them. On the part of Harry Kane, I'm sure it may be a conversation of age, where they feel that now, in the new sense of the Galactico, the new project that they want to build, the striker that will come through has to be younger. And I know for sure that they would love the killer instincts of Erling Braut Haaland, and they would love the creativity and general play, and then the top star persona of Kylian Mbappe. So yes, of course, both of them obviously were impossible. I mean, I constantly said, if you listen to me here, and then of course on my parent media house, I kept on saying several times that there was no way Kylian Mbappe was going to move for Paris Saint-Germain. In fact, financially, it was feasible, but then it was going to be a difficult thing to pull out financially at the time. So yeah, it did materialize. Now, they've gone into a 4-1-2-1-2. Usually in this 4-1-2-1-2, Madrid plays with Orient Tchouameni at the base, and then they have Federico Valverde on the other side. Then there is my man, Eduardo Camavinga on the other side. Then at the apex of the diamond, this is Jude Bellingham. You know, Jude can play as a 10, an attacking number 8. But Jude really has come full circle actually as a player. At age 18, his jersey was retired in Birmingham. People do not understand the kind of player Jude Bellingham was. He went to Dortmund in Germany, and he was very, very integral for them. In fact, there were times where Jude Bellingham was the captain of the yellow and black of Dortmund in the Champions League at that age, at 19. At 20, he's in Real Madrid's team, and then he's bailing Madrid out every now and then. Highest goal scorer for Real Madrid this season. Champions League, everything that you want for him. Brilliant in terms of setting up goals. But you see, people say a lot of things, say, oh, it is just tap in. That is not, tactically, Jude has been brilliant for Real Madrid. It is the box crashing job of Jude Bellingham that's brought him where he is. He crashes the box every time. He's able to come out from the back and get a job done. That is That's the most important part of Jude's game. That's the most important part of Jude's game. If you watch him, it is the box crashing ability of what he gives to the team, and that's exactly where he is now. So he has been brilliant. Yesterday, himself and Vinicius Jr. were brilliant in everything that Madrid. Essentially, was in that compact 4-1-2-1-2, and it's difficult for it to break them down. But in transitions, they are very brilliant, and they got a job done in the Spanish La Liga. Now, in other games, Chelsea yesterday, brilliant again. Mauricio Pochettino's Chargers did win by 4-1 against Burnley. If you look at how Chelsea did play, if you look at how they played out from the back, the first half wasn't too exciting. But then Marco Correa in the second half, and then the changes that was done. Armando Broja sitting out, Nicolo Jackson coming on, and then the job of Cole Palmer. Brilliant stuff. I think that Cole Palmer has found his place in this team on that right-hand side. He has been good. He doesn't necessarily have to keep the width. He's an interior, like I always say. He comes inside, into the half spaces, picks up the ball, try to dictate the pace of the game, because it's very, very, very important. It's very important that everything that Chelsea does goes through Cole Palmer, because he is the tempo controller of the team. And that is what you want from a player like that. You say you want a number 10 in an interior position, then he wants that tempo control. You want somebody that you know when to go slow, when to pause, when to go. And because he also has that La Pulsar with him. And you see, I don't get it wrong with players, honestly speaking. I do not get it wrong with players. So anytime I tell you about a player, you should know that I'm telling you about somebody that I'm certain. If I stick my head out for a player, I know that this guy is up for it. He's a top guy. So Cole Palmer was brilliant. But boy, there's somebody that I need to talk about today, and it's the job of Moises Caicedo. When he came to Chelsea, it was on the back of all of that brouhaha. But mind you, he has settled in the last 4 games or 5 games. Played some brilliant football. He has been calm. I think that Moises Caicedo is underrated for his passing ability. Because if you look at that game that he played yesterday against Burnley at the Turf Moor, the switching of play, one time to Mihailo Modric, how he holds up the ball, how he controls possession, how he plays through the game. He has been brilliant, spot on, from everything that he has been doing for the team. So yesterday, Chelsea did win by 4-1. There's an analysis after this one. 2 Chelsea analysis, however. I think that Enzo Fernandez is a big problem at Chelsea. The analysis is going to be right after this one. So you make sure you turn on notification for that as well. There's also another one of the update of Victor Osimhen and then Ivan Toney, possibly in January. The reason why Chelsea still need to go for either of these players, I also do that analysis there for you in the subsequent one. So, but just before we even go on, in the next game, yesterday, Manchester United. So if you're a Manchester United fan, yeah, this is for you and this is for my heart, to be very honest with you. Onana has never been a great shot stopper, an excellent shot stopper. He has been a good shot stopper. He's not a very good shot stopper compared to, say, David De Gea. But I've said this constantly, and I'll say it again. In the modern game, you don't necessarily need a shot stopper. You need more than just a shot stopper. You need somebody that does something more. And because the thinking is simple. You want to have most of the possession. You want to control the game. You want to make sure that you are in total control of the game such that quality chances are not created against you. And it is simple. The reason why a lot of coaches want ball-playing goalkeepers. Because with them, you don't waste the ball. You keep the ball. You recycle it consistently. And then you prevent chances, quality ones being created against you. Now, if you have a very good, high-quality ball-playing goalkeeper, and he's just slightly average or good as a shot stopper, it is okay in the modern game. Now, I'll give you a classic example. It's a classic example of Ederson Morelos at Manchester City. He has never been a brilliant shot stopper. Never. Never been a brilliant shot stopper. But he's a great ball-playing goalkeeper. And in that structure that City plays, and his role in the team, sometimes coming to play as an extra centre-back in progression, it is where he gets his money. It is where he becomes the guy that everybody knows him to be. Yes, there are times that he has to come up with saves. But he is in there because of his ball-playing ability. And that's exactly why Pep Guardiola doesn't play with him. Because he is a tough customer and it's going to be difficult for you to break him down. In the sense of the fact that you are not going to create quality chances against his team. So that's the thing. I mean, Andre Onana has been imposed against Man City in the Champions League final. And Pep himself said it. That he could not create chances against Andre. You can't press the goalkeeper. You cannot press Andre Onana. Now, there are 2 things. I don't think that International Milan's defenses was just too watertight, and that's the reason why Andre Onana wasn't conceding. I think Onana generally is suffering a lack of form and is low in confidence, actually. If you look at the kind of goalkeeper that Andre Onana is and the kind of football that he plays, he's down in confidence. Now, when 3 players at Manchester United were in the team. Andre Onana was able to play some good football in terms of the progressive passes to them. And I'll name them to you. And if you're a United fan and you watch them, you allude to these things. First of all, it's Tyrell Malaysia. Malaysia is a wonderful receiver of those balls. Every time he has been in a team, when Onana is in, Onana is comfortable able to go to the full-back side to him. That's the job of Tyrell Malaysia. He does it comfortably. Leandro Martinez, again, when he is in the team, Onana is comfortable able to play out Leandro Martinez. The one time that Sofiane Amrabat was in midfield, Onana's average successful or passing accuracy was good. Better than at least the numbers that he's getting now in these games. Now, the players to receive the ball in these zones, in these times for Manchester United are lacking. Rafael Varane is out of the team. Martinez, and then of course Tyrell Malaysia, in my opinion. Everything that looks sure is also going to be a brilliant person in terms of that job with Andre Onana. So I think United's problem go beyond just Andre Onana. Their defense is actually very leaky. They're suffering a low in confidence. But I've said it consistently that United is that kind of team, especially when they're playing at home, where they may not be playing well, but then Bruno Fernandes may pop up and then do some wonderful stuff. And then same for Scott McTominay yesterday. If you look at the whole game that United played, it's just a few things. I mean, Anthony plays more like a controller from out wide for them. Has that lapose out him, calms down the game at some point in time, calms the attack of Manchester United. And then, but I think that the bigger problem goes beyond just Andre Onana. It's a question of their defense. It's a question of what you get in the general play, in the general sense. But I would want to make my final conclusion and assessment on Erik ten Hag when he gets the lineup that I think is their starting lineup. When he gets Onana imposed, he gets Leandro Martinez, Varane, gets Luke Shaw, gets Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Diogo Dalot on the other side. And then in the middle of the park, he comes in, has Sofiane Amrabat, has Casemiro, has Bruno Fernandes as a number 10, plays Mason Mount from out wide from the other side, plays Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund. In this game, in about 3-4 games like this, then I can see that, okay, fine, maybe if still results are not coming, then I have worries about Manchester United. But I do not, honestly. Ten Hag is a brilliant manager. He's a good manager. He just has to get the pieces together. And yes, I don't think it's time for you to just put him on the chopping board and then chop him off. No, it goes just beyond that. I think that he's going to come full circle with the things that he's doing. For Onana, yes, the issues are there. He's suffering for low confidence. Sometimes, look at the goal that he considered yesterday. I mean, sometimes you need that he needs to get his grip together. But I think the confidence is low. You can't take anything away from Andre Onana. He's not a bad shot stopper. It is not because I am International Milan had a watertight defense. Look at the saves he made in the Champions League last season. It's not just because of that. In the Champions League final, it's not just because of that. Honestly speaking, at Ajax, it's not because we're not conceding chances. He was conceding chances. So it goes more beyond that. And if you're a United fan, you would want to be much more circumspect in some of this conversation, especially about Andre Onana, because I'm very sure that he'll turn the corner. And if he does, I mean, it's football. Yeah. But of course, I mean, football's discussion these days is much more spooky and then fickle. So sometimes you can't even call for some of these things in terms of patience and then people coming down and whatnot. But yeah, it's what it is. And Manchester United need to make sure they keep on winning. Yesterday, it was a relief. Scott McTominay was a hero. He has been scoring for Scotland, actually. He did it for Manchester United. It was brilliant stuff. So, there are 3 games that I want to analyze today for you quickly in the next few minutes, and you want to stick here. First of all, it's Barcelona. Barcelona are playing today. You see, another team I'm very excited about, and another young manager who has been doing brilliant stuff is Xavi Hernandez. And I remember when Xavi started again, just like Erik ten Hag, when people say, oh, Xavi's not doing good stuff, he's being too defensive, being too pragmatic, I say, hey, one of the biggest issues Barcelona have had in recent times is the issue of solidity and combativeness and aggression. It's all across the field of play. Now, he's a La Masia boy, gone through the ranks, played for Barcelona. He's a legend, absolutely, at Barcelona. If he's coming back as a manager, he knows the deficiencies of the club. And that's what he tried to solve first. And I like it when he brought in a proper defensive mastermind in Aurelio Romeo, because he gives that team so much balance off the ball. So much balance. So if you have Frankie de Jong next to him or Ken Gundogan next to him, 2 technical players right next to him who can be tasked with the job of progressing play and doing all of those stuff, those nice stuff that the cameras like to capture. Whilst he's the general who's in charge of organizing the back and then positions and whatnot, defending in certain zones that he has to be in terms of preventing them the turnovers and then counter pressing and whatnot. And these are some of the things that you want. I mean, the kind of things that you need from a midfield general, and this is what Xavi has brought to the team. But essentially, I think the last two purchases for Barcelona has been the best. João Cancelo playing as an interior for them from the left-hand side, whilst they play either Ferran Torres or Rafinha or Yamin Lawal to keep the width for them on the right-hand side, with Robert Lewandowski in the middle of the park. Now, even right apart from that, now it means that you can have a box-to-box player, Gavi, who was carried the last time. I think Gavi is brilliant in terms of his box-to-box job that he does for FC Barcelona. He's a top guy. And if you have it in your team, you have it. And, I mean, with this Barca defense, Ronald Araujo back, Koundé being that controller from Barcelona from the back, the job of João Cancelo possibly can keep the width high and wide and can also come inverted. He has found his place in Barcelona. Alejandro Balde on the other side. Marcos Alonso is there and all that. So it's a brilliant Barcelona side. And I think today they should be able to win. Now, in the English Premier League, West Brighton and Hove Albion are playing against Liverpool. If you're an investor, it's just two things. Liverpool in a very good run of form. They want to keep the run of form going. But this is what you need to know. This is one of the few games to this weekend that's going to end up in over 2.5. If you're an investor, one of the few games this weekend that's going to end up in over 2.5 is this Brighton and the Liverpool game. So if you are sticking your bets, you know that it's going to be on over 2.5. Who wins? I don't care. But Liverpool in a good place. I mean, if you look at how they are playing, Alexis McAllister in the middle of the park, brilliant stuff. Jair Konsa, brilliant centre back in there for a team that's called Liverpool. And I think that Liverpool are going to grow in leaps and bounds actually because of how they've come together and how they are growing. So I think it's going to happen. Now, so the biggest game of the weekend actually. Arteta has found it very hard to play against Manchester City. Very, very, very hard. And anytime in about 13 times now, if they are going to equal a bad record if they lose against Man City this weekend. They don't want that. But they are happy with the return of Bukayo Saka and then Gabriel Martinelli. Whilst Pep Guardiola is without Rodri Cascante and then Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Kevin De Bruyne has scored one of the most goals for Manchester City anytime they play against Arsenal. Rodri also scored the last time for them. Very integral. I've mentioned that I don't think Mateo Kovacic has exactly what you want from him as a player in the middle of the park, as a DM or as a CM or a more hybrid player. Now that's going to be my worry. The midfield balance of Mateo Kovacic and Matheus Nunes in the middle of the park. Now you top it up with, say, Bernardo Silva coming to play because Jack Grealish is back into the team. Jack Grealish is the possession sustainer for Manchester City, and that's the kind of job that he does. Jeremy Doku, more direct as a winger in there for them. So you put all of these together and then you ask yourself, Arsenal has Gabriel Magalhaes back, William Saliba, Benjamin White in there. Thomas Partey is fit. I don't know if he's going to play. They will need his pass selection in this game. Very, very important for Arsenal Football Club. But if he doesn't play, it means that Alexander Zinchenko is going to play from the left back position where he will come inverted into central areas and come and combine with Declan Rice in the middle of the park to form that double pivot. Just so Martin Odegaard and Kai Havertz can push up into the half spaces and play as two interiors in the number 8 for them. Then they keep the width in Gabriel Jesus if he starts and all, Edin Ketia and Gabriel Jesus through the middle, then Xhaka in the, or if Gabriel Martinelli can start. That's the dynamics. Now, it's going to be a 3-1-6 shape for Arsenal that they want anytime they are pushing up. Now, they know that this is their best chance for beating Manchester City. The best chance for Arsenal to beat Man City is now. And they need to be very aggressive at them. But if you remember that the last time Arsenal tried to be very aggressive at Manchester City, one of the easiest things City did was that they had to go long to Erling Braut Haaland. And then the ball playing ability of Ederson Morales came to play. He picked up the ball from those back areas and goes long to Erling Braut Haaland because he's a very good hold-up player. And once he does that, now the players around him can pick up those pieces. Phil Foden and the likes can pick up those pieces inside him. Now you see, Phil Foden is a better space occupier than on the ball in terms of the final pass. But Julian Alvarez has been brilliant for Manchester City and how they play. So when these two pick up those balls, they are going to run into space and then occupy and then hurt Arsenal. Essentially, without the ball, Arsenal would have to defend the zones as much as they defend the man. So whilst they press, they have to also be wary of the off-the-ball movement of Phil Foden and Julian Alvarez. Because these guys, once they get space and they are on the ball, they need just a second to turn the game on its head. And that's it. You may focus too much on Erling Braut Haaland, but in the off-the-ball job, in terms of getting into spaces of Julian Alvarez and then Phil Foden, is very, very also important. Now, these are the game dynamics, actually. I think if Thomas Partey plays, then he is going to give Arsenal much more control in midfield because he is careful in his pass selection, unlike Declan Rice, who takes more risks like an Odegaard in progression. So you need Partey next to Declan Rice in there. So maybe they can play Partey again at right back, like the last time he did for Ben White. Comes in there, plays double pivot with Rice in the middle of the park. Partey will be the better pass selector, calm down the play, push it forward, calm it down, and wait for the openings. Whilst Declan Rice does a very good aggressive counter pressing in the middle of the park to get a job done. So these are the nitty-gritties of the game. But really, I think that is the best opportunity for Arsenal to win them today. Is the end of another edition of Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I'm sure you loved it. I loved it myself. Make sure you do subscribe, turn on notification, and then choose all. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. I'll see you actually this weekend. A lot of content for you. So prepare for us to go for an international.